So what takes place during the fourth millennium? That fourth day of creation that the Most High revealed through Moshe. To answer that question takes us now to the second stage or the second phase of the word's development. And I'm sure many people have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about when I say the second stage or the second phase of the word's development. Most High willing, at a later date, we'll get into that stuff. But for right now, let's go to one of the books of the Gospels, the book of John. Now, each of the writers of the four Gospels had a particular thought when they write about the life of Moshiach Yahusha. Yohanan, however, he approaches it much different from everybody else. As a matter of fact, with Matthew, Mark, and Luke, scholars have labeled them as the synoptic gospel because a lot of the information in each of those stories are similar. There are some similarities or some stories that share similarity in the gospel according to John. But his approach was different from everyone else's approach, which we're going to see. So John chapter 1 and verse 1, he starts out, Berashit, in the beginning. Whenever we come across that term, in the beginning, first question we want to ask ourselves, why did John start his writing that way? The mind should be taken to the full creation. In the beginning. Listen to what he says. In the beginning was the Word. Now, what is a word? Let's take it back to elementary. When we were in school, first starting out, okay? But what we want to do and how we want to do that, we want to start from the top and work our way back down to the bottom. So when we look at the Word is the story of humanity. That's what it is. Beginning in Berashit or Genesis. Genesis meaning origins. Taking us all the way up through the Tanakh or Old Testament, as many call it. Even some of the apocryphal books, which many have not placed in the biblical canon for a variety of reasons, but nevertheless, there's a lot of important information held within the apocryphal books, especially during the time what people call or refer to as the 400 years of silence. But even through the very Achadashah, the New Testament, okay, this is the history. In other words, when you look at the word history, it's actually his story. In other words, we can look at it as the creator of the heavens and the earth take on the history of humanity. So every story is filled with paragraphs. There are a certain amount of sentences which creates a paragraph. A sentence contains a variety of words. Words which are utilized to transmit a thought. Words which are formed by letters. So when we're in pre-K, kindergarten, first grade, when we're starting out, first thing we have to learn, even when we're at home, before we ever sit to school, we learn our ABCs. So when the scripture says, in the beginning was the Word, what is the Word? The Word are the 22 letters, 22 powers, 22 entities, which together form what we refer to as Elohim. That's the reason why that word was used. Elohim, mighty ones, powers, gods. But these powers, they are one, which is why Elohim was given a name, a personal name, the name that they were originally given, Yahweh. So let's move on. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with our. Listen to that. So now, we had in the beginning, and keep in mind we're talking about before creation, as we're going to see. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with our, or mighty one. So there was a point in time when Yah existed alone. At that point in time, the Word was within Yah. But now what we're learning is that that Word was eventually brought forth. And now the scripture said that the Word was with Yah. So now we have Yah, Yahweh. Okay? And the Word was with mighty one. And the Word was Elohim. Again, mighty ones. Why? Because Yahweh is composed of 22 powers. Now I know some people disagree with that, but we discussed early on in the lesson about polytheism being a corruption of the truth. Because within polytheism, you had this God versus this goddess versus this goddess. Not so. Hence, Moshe, Shema Yisrael, Yahweh, Elohim, Yahweh, Akkad. In other words, unified. Unlike the entities of the nations around you, who had the corrupted or the watered down or the polluted version of the truth. Yahweh is one, 22 entities, 22 powers, yet functioning as one, just like the human body. We discussed that. Many parts compose our body, but it's just one body. Many parts functioning as one whole. That is Elohim, Yahweh, Elohim. And for all of you naysayers out there, here's a question. Hebrew, Israelite, Jew, whatever you call yourself, here's the question. Explain Psalms 119. If that's not true, explain Psalms 119. So it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with mighty one, and the Word was mighty ones. So what does this teach? Okay? As was discussed, Yahweh, being the Word, is only an extension of Yah. And we're going to see some things. So, in Isaiah chapter 43, verse 10, yes, we are reiterating this passage again because it is very crucial, very critical, very important passage. Ishayahu brought out many wonderful truths, which is one of the reasons why he was a martyr